What if humans could photosynthesize like plants? This question comes from Dr. Sarah Chen, who asks, if humans evolved the ability to photosynthesize and could survive entirely on sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide, how would this fundamentally change our species and civilization? Let's imagine that tomorrow morning, every human on Earth wakes up with skin that is turned a subtle green tint. Microscopic examination reveals that our skin cells now contain chloroplasts, the same organelles that allow plants to convert sunlight into energy. Suddenly, humans no longer need to eat food to survive, we can literally live on sunlight. The first day would be surreal. People would step outside and feel energized in a completely new way. Sunbathers would discover they're not just getting a tan, they're actually feeding themselves. A few hours of direct sunlight would provide all the energy a human needs for an entire day. The sensation would be described as a warm, satisfying fullness that comes not from the stomach, but from every cell in the body. Within a week, the global economy would begin collapsing. The agriculture industry, which employs over 1 billion people worldwide and represents trillions of dollars in economic activity, would become instantly obsolete. Restaurants would close, grocery stores would empty, and food delivery services would shut down overnight. The entire supply chain from farms to processing plants to retail would become unnecessary. But here's where it gets interesting. Humans would quickly discover that photosynthesis comes with unexpected limitations. On cloudy days, people would feel sluggish and tired. During winter months in northern latitudes, humans would struggle to get enough sunlight to maintain their energy levels. Night shift workers would find it nearly impossible to function, as their reversed sleep schedule would prevent them from photosynthesizing during peak sunlight hours. The social implications would be profound. Wealthy people would immediately migrate to sunny climates near the equator, where photosynthesis is most efficient year-round. Real estate prices in places like Hawaii, Southern California, and the Mediterranean would skyrocket, while property values in cloudy regions like Seattle or Northern Europe would plummet. A new form of inequality would emerge based on access to sunlight rather than access to food. Cities would be redesigned entirely. Office buildings would need transparent roofs and walls to allow workers to photosynthesize while working. The concept of the lunch break would disappear, replaced by mandatory sun breaks where employees would step outside to recharge. Nightclubs and indoor entertainment would struggle, as people would naturally want to spend their daylight hours outside absorbing energy. The most dramatic change would be in human behavior and social structures. The ritual of eating, which has been central to human culture for millennia, would vanish. Family dinners, business lunches, romantic dinner dates, and food-based celebrations would all become obsolete. Humans would need to find entirely new ways to socialize and bond without the shared experience of eating. But after about 6 months of this new photosynthetic existence, scientists would make a disturbing discovery. Humans who rely entirely on photosynthesis are slowly losing their ability to think creatively and solve complex problems. The brain, which normally consumes about 20% of the body's energy from glucose, isn't receiving the same type of fuel from photosynthesis. It turns out that the simple sugars produced by photosynthesis are sufficient for basic bodily functions, but the human brain requires the complex nutrients and varied energy sources that come from eating diverse foods. Photosynthetic humans can perform routine tasks and maintain basic cognitive functions, but they struggle with abstract thinking, innovation, and emotional complexity. Society would begin to stagnate. Scientific research would slow dramatically. Art and literature would become simpler and less sophisticated. Technology development would plateau as engineers and inventors lose their creative spark. The very qualities that make humans uniquely intelligent would begin to fade. Here's the unexpected twist that changes everything. After a year of photosynthetic living, a small group of humans would make a radical discovery. They would realize that the most successful photosynthetic humans aren't those who spend all day in direct sunlight, but those who alternate between photosynthesis and eating small amounts of traditional food. These hybrid humans would discover that they need only about 20% of their previous food intake, supplemented with photosynthesis, to maintain both their physical energy and their cognitive abilities. The optimal lifestyle would involve morning photosynthesis sessions for basic energy, combined with small, nutrient-rich meals to fuel brain function. This revelation would lead to the most profound shift in human civilization since agriculture. Instead of abandoning food entirely, humans would develop a new relationship with eating. Food would become medicine, carefully chosen, nutrient-dense substances consumed not for energy, but specifically to maintain cognitive function and emotional well-being. The new human would be incredibly efficient. requiring minimal resources while maintaining peak mental performance. We would be environmentally sustainable, producing oxygen as a byproduct of our existence rather than consuming vast resources. Population growth would stabilize as reproduction becomes less energy intensive. Most surprisingly, this change would force humanity to realize that our greatest strength was never our ability to consume and transform our environment, but our ability to find balance. The photosynthetic humans who thrived would be those who learned to combine the best of both plant and animal existence, creating a new form of life that was both sustainable and brilliantly conscious.